So, good morning. Welcome to the Alkaloid Network's Mastermind Roundtable. I'm Catherine Chestnut. I actually own and operate Alkaloid Networks, which is a co-working space. And some of you already know that because you're members, which is lovely to see you, even if it's virtual. But for those of you who may not know it, my background is in marketing, and I spent over 30 years in marketing, doing strategic planning, things like that. I still actually go to conferences when they're happening to teach people about marketing. And I do all the marketing for Alkaloid Networks. So some of the examples that I'm going to show you today are my actual things that I do in Google My Business. So that said, perhaps you guys could tell me a little bit about what you're doing or why you're interested in learning more about Google My Business. And Rick, since you are the first person on my screen, I'm going to ask you to go first. I hope that's okay. So tell us a little bit about what you are currently doing and where you think you can make improvements.
Hi there. I'm with a company called Enablist. We have an office at Alkaloid. I build websites and do local SEO for clients as requested. I'm here today because I've been eager to join one of your roundtables and see what they're all about. It's not core to my job, but it's something that I wind up doing a few hours a week.
Great. Cool. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you could join us. I haven't been able to see you guys in so long.
You know, I rarely get down there anyway. I'm all the way up in Johns Creek, so it's a little bit of a haul. But yeah, maybe once all this craziness dies down, I'll spend a little bit of time. We're on the rooftop there. We moved in just as the coronavirus hit, so
yeah,
probably seen Kyle bopping around there, but Andy and I haven't had the opportunity to spend much time.
Well, you have a really badass office up there, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Pretty sweet.
Just hoping to enjoy springtime on the Beltline, but
yeah. Brian, perhaps you could tell us what you're doing or what you are hoping to start doing.
Well, I'm just curious of what SEO is, and I got an email from you. I'm not sure how I got on your distribution list because I do not use your co-working space or anything like that. So I was just joining out of curiosity today.
Okay, I don't know either, but I'll go and check. And SEO stands for search engine optimization. All right, Angelique, perhaps you could tell us why you're here and what you're hoping to get.
I have my own website. However, I have a hard time finding my website when I use keywords. And so I've kind of done a little bit of research, and it seems like my click-throughs are kind of low. So I just want to figure out if there's things I can do to make it better.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. Kevin.
Yes, I'm up on Google local businesses, but I know I could probably be using more of the features and driving them in real estate. And so really all the search is dominated by the top guys. And so I know I have to be hyper-focused local and getting ready to do some geo fencing and marketing. It's really hyper-targeted. So I want to kind of bridge that over to make sure that they can find me from my different sources of marketing, even if I'm just on a regular search, just because Zillow, Redfin, and all those guys just take up everything on SEO.
They do. That's a tough business to stay, relevant or not relevant, but just like getting your voice heard, definitely. Stacy, and you are last, so tell us about yourself.
Well, I do have well, I don't have a brick and mortar, but I do have a, mobile business, and I've just always been, uh, I guess, struggling with SEO. I do have Google business currently, but I'm just trying to learn more about it in general. And I know that they actually added some features recently, so I'm just trying to see how I can utilize that more. I actually found you on Nextdoor under the events, and I saw that it was I actually just found you this morning. So I was like, okay, well, let me try to make it before 10. So that's just why I'm here.
Cool. Great. I'm glad you're here. And I'm one of those people that post my events everywhere, all the time. So, because you just never know where people are going to want to get information. All right.
That's true.
So here we go. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see if I can get this to. All right. There we go. So just quickly, some statistics about Google My Business. First off, it's free. Free is a wonderful word when it comes to marketing. It's not free in terms of your time. So you do have to spend time working on it, but you don't have to spend a lot of time doing it. Detailed and complete Google My Business listings are 2 times more likely to be trusted than those that are incomplete. Add photos regularly. I actually have a reoccurring task to add photos weekly, a photo at least once a week, or a video. And you will get 42% more direction requests and 35% more clicks. So adding photos and encouraging your customers to add photos of their visits you can't control that, but you can control what you're doing. 72% of consumers that do a local search visit a location that's within 5 miles. So, and because I'm a co-working space, which is a very hyper local service, typically, that's important that I stay relevant there. 50% of local searches lead to a visit within a day or a visit to your site. And 78% of result in a purchase. Now, some of this information is based on consumer, not just business to business, but business to consumer. But it's still good information to have regardless. 51% of phone users discover a new product or company, and more searches take place on mobile phones than computers, which I find really interesting. But I have also seen that on my own dashboard analytics. So when you are, the basics, right? Make sure you have all your relevant business information, operating hours, contact details. Don't leave anything out. And Stacy, as you had mentioned, Google has upped their game a little bit lately. There is a way that you can do this on Yelp too, but on Google My Business, if you are closed for the moment, make sure that all your content is accurate and grammatically correct. Check your listing is verified once you sign up. So that usually shows up in the form of a mailing within 5 to 14 days. And I have a fair number of members here at Alkaloid that have the lowest level membership, and they use it so that they have a business address that's in the city of Atlanta. And I make sure that everybody has a unique suite number. And then that way Google doesn't get weird, because if too many people have the same suite number, Google gets kind of stupid and dings you for having too many businesses at this exact same location, but just changing the suite number is enough to make a difference. So when anybody signs up here, they have a unique suite number, regardless of whether or not they have an office, a community membership, or a work from home membership. Make sure you have reliable and detailed descriptions of the services you offer, and I'll show you some examples here in just a minute. Include keywords and phrases. Again, this is all basic stuff. None of this is rocket science, but you have to take the time to do it. And the dividends that you get from that will pay off. It's a long game. And then keep your information up to date. Again, temporary closings such as we have right now, holidays. Google is really good about sending you an email and reminding you or asking you, are you open on Christmas? Are you open on New Year's? Are you open on Thanksgiving? So they're good about making sure that you get that information available. So I'm going to share a different screen if I can find it. All right, we're going to stop that. And then hold on a second. So I'll show you an example here in just a second. I just need to get to that screen. So here we go. So you can see here, I actually have 3 businesses that I manage, and you can see it says temporarily closed here because I've updated that information. I actually had a soft opening just for members only, but I'm not doing tours or anything yet. So you can see here, this is the dashboard that you'll see. You can post your COVID update here. So you can say if you're temporarily closed, and you can set the end date there. You get a snapshot of your performance, which is not very pretty right now. You get a snapshot of reviews, things like that. So that is the dashboard. So when you log in, so you're going to want to, it's different login information. Again, once you verify it, you'll be able to go in there and update all the information. All right, so back to this screen. Okay. All right. So make sure, I was talking earlier about making sure that you add photos. Businesses that have photos and regularly new photos get 35% more click-throughs. And show your products and services in use. So, I mean, there's nothing sadder than seeing pictures of a co-working space without people in it. And granted, I have some of those pictures as well, but Stacy, you said you have a mobile business. What type of business is it again?
I run a mobile headlights removal.
Cool. So showing pictures of you with smiling customers or people that are happy when they're done, or that might be, you know, photos that you want to put in there or get people to do reviews. And include pictures that reflect the energy of your brand. And what I mean by that is, here, and I'll show you. So my brand is a little bit different. I don't want to say different. I like to have fun, and I have a little bit of a kind of, I don't know, I like to have fun. I care a lot about my members. They're very important to me. So my pictures that I post reflect that. So if we go and we look at some of the pictures that I've got posted, you can see here, you can pin your cover photo and your logo, so it always shows up at the top. But you can see this last picture that I posted was a picture of toilet paper, because I was so excited because I didn't get any toilet paper here in the space for 2 months. Members that do memes all the time. But you can see there's also pictures of some of our Zoom calls. There's pictures of the space outside, quotes, things like that. Videos are really good. So I highly, highly recommend making sure that you do that. The other thing is to answer and respond to every review. So you can see here, you can actually see all of them. You can see the ones you've replied to. You can see that you haven't replied to. I haven't replied to the ones that don't have a comment. I suppose I probably ought to say thank you for 5 stars, but shame on me for doing that. But answer the reviews, whether they're good or bad. People look at the reviews because they want to know what your customers think of them. So think of you. And again, ask for reviews. Sometimes it's hard. I mean, I don't ask all the time, but I send out a weekly email to my members, and every so often, every month or so, I'll include a link to my Google page and ask people to post reviews. So that is something that is important. People are looking for that information, because again, it's not that they don't trust you, it's just that they trust the reviews perhaps just a little bit more. And I think that's a little bit like human nature. So let's see, I'm going to, all right. Also, answering reviews improves your visibility in organic search results. This is really important. I get a lot of, what do I want to say? I get a lot of reviews, or not reviews, but I get a lot of organic postings or organic searches. And if you're not, I mean, AdWords is great, but it's not inexpensive. So I would say, you know, you need to be using the free tools as much as you can. Again, it's not free in terms of your time, but it's worth it in the long run. Posts are where you get a competitive advantage. Posting things, not just pictures. I'm talking about a post. So we will go and look at that. That's very strange. There we go. So posts. So I try and do a post every week, as well as posting a picture. They're two different things. And you can see here at the top, you've got, actually, I don't think I've shared that. So let me make sure I share it. There we go. So you can see, you can add an offer, you can add an update, you can add an event. So all these events get added here. You can also add a product. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. But you can see, here's a post that I just did a year ago. It links to my, if I click on learn more, it links to my blog post. So we can talk about blogs, things like that. That's a long game, but content is important right now. Even if it's just short little videos, things like that, people are looking for content. You know, here you can see where I posted this event for this particular event. You can see where this was an event that was held, but the video is still available. So people will look at these things. And I know, right, 5 views, I don't care. I'm still going to be putting it out there because it's going to help my, what do I want to say? It's going to help my organic search results. So that's important. All right. So the next thing is offers. So I haven't had a lot of luck with offers. That doesn't mean that they don't work. It just means that in my particular business, it's not something that people are looking for. So I would say, you know, depending on what your business is, offers may be a thing. Every once in a while, I'll try it. I think I did a thing for Valentine's Day, like 14% off. I did a thing for the Super Bowl when it was here last year, offering, what was that, Super Bowl 51? I can't remember now. Isn't that terrible? But I offered like that percentage of discount. So I was tying it to the event that was going on. So, but especially in business to consumer, that often gives really good results in engagement. Videos, when we talk about updates, videos get the best results, and keep them short and sweet. So perhaps a testimonial. I have a video production company here in the space, and they did a video, video of Alkaloid, which is on the homepage, but they sent me the raw footage of all the interviews that they did. So I go in and pull little snippets out, and we'll post those from time to time, because videos, people like to watch videos. Events, post as much in advance as possible if you can. And products. So we're going to go look at products now, because that is definitely a thing. All right, so hang on, I'm going to skip that, come back here. All right, so there is a place on here, and this was something that got added, I don't know, a year or two ago, but you can add your products. So you can see, you can have the categories. I have shared desk memberships. You can add products. You can add the price. So here, we'll just click on one. So you can have a fixed price, how much it is, some of the details, and you can have a learn more link so people can just click on it to get to that page where you offer that product. So in my case, I have 2 categories, but it's easy enough to do that. And I honestly, I don't know how much traffic I get through this, but I make sure that it's there, and I make sure that it's up to date all the time. All right. So come on here. Here we go. Anybody have any questions so far?
I do. This
Yes.
is Rick, Catherine. Is this 100% local? Here's the basis of my question. I have a client in LA, and they do video production work primarily for political campaigns. I don't know if they have a Google My Business page, but if I were to, recommend this to them, is this, and they devoted some effort to building out the page, is it only going to benefit them in the LA market, or will it could, because they do their work from, Hawaii to Washington, D.C.?
Great question. Google My Business is going to default to being local SEO. However, you can put some settings in there. I believe that that's going to be on your home page, where you can go in there, and I'd have to go and look. It's been a while since I've looked for that, but I'll do a little research on that, Rick, because I think that there is a way that you can do to make it not just local. There has to be. So I haven't looked at it in a long time because I haven't needed to. So I will do that.
And I don't want to send you
So
there
there
has
has to be a way
hole.
to do that.
I didn't know if you knew off the top of your head, because it seems like a lot of, there's some clients who want a brochure website for their small local business, but there are a lot of people that want to do things like build out a Shopify site, or things that really kind of have a national or even global footprint.
Right.
And I don't know if this is something, because this would be a great bolt-on service, and my next question is going to ask about like agency best practices. How do you represent somebody who's come to you to build a website in terms of, their Google My Business presence? And, I already do that with Twitter and Facebook and Insta and TikTok and, everything else. So every time you look at one of these new social media or advertising venues, it kind of opens up that same bundle of how do I package this up and sell it to a client?
Mm-hmm. So the first thing you have to have a marketing plan. What is it that you're trying to accomplish? Who are you trying to reach? So getting clear about that, and what's the message that you need to be delivering to them? So my posts are geared towards the message that I'm providing to my local community, which makes sense for me. But if you're looking to reach a broader group, like global or national, the other thing is that in my posts, I hashtag, just like I would do in Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or anything like that. And the hashtags, Google looks at those hashtags, and it will look at whether that is a local or a national or a global hashtag, and their algorithms will respond accordingly. So that's important. So in terms of packaging it, I would say, start with the marketing plan, and then you have a process that you go through for Instagram and Twitter and all the other social media. Honestly, Google My Business Google's the 800-pound gorilla. And this needs to be, your Google My Business site needs to be up and running, and you need to be posting to it regularly so that you're getting some traction. Because, yes, I pay for Google AdWords, but I don't have the deep pockets like some of the big spaces do, big, national and international spaces do. So I have to especially make sure that I'm staying on top of this particular thing, and that I have new content, and that I'm doing blog posts and videos and things like that, because Google takes all those things into consideration when it's putting you in an organic placement. because you want to be as high up on the page as you can, definitely on the first page.
Right, and
go.
I noticed when I just tried to find Alkaloid Networks, and if I enter Alkaloid Networks, I find your Google My Business page. If I do, like, I think it was Atlanta, Beltline, Coworking Space, I find you guys fairly easily. But then there was another, like, common search string where you weren't, it didn't throw up your Google My Business information, but you were the #1, like organic SEO link that pointed to your website. I guess I'm just trying to get my head around. Yeah, I'm trying to get my head around what the, I think Google My Business, like creating your profile is probably like I'm anteing up by building it, but I'm not sure exactly how I would drive somebody to that page if I wanted to do that,
Well, I mean, the fact that you did, you using relevant keywords. So you typed in Atlanta Coworking and, you threw in Beltline, which probably helped a lot. But if you just type in Atlanta Coworking, I think every once in a while I do an incognito and I check out, like, where do I show up on the page? So here's the other thing. It's down here somewhere. Maybe it's under posts. Hang on. I know I see it pretty regularly. It shows you what your competitors are doing too, and what they've done recently. Maybe it's not on this page. I'd have to find it. You'll have to float around, but it'll show you what your other businesses like you are doing, what posts they have done recently. And I know that when I go and look at that, I'm definitely posting stuff way more regularly than businesses like me. So I know that I'm having an advantage to that. I'm getting a competitive advantage in terms of my placement on an organic search because I'm giving Google fodder to work with. I'd have to look that up. I will look that up, Rick, just because I haven't had to look at it for 5 years. So I don't know the answer off the top of my head anymore, but I'm sure that it's in here. Gotcha. Does anybody have any other questions?
I have a question. So how, I don't know if you mentioned this when I was off, but how regularly do you have to post? Is it just once a week, or does it really run in order to, I guess, be, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I have a reoccurring task where I, at a minimum, post a new photo every week, photo or video, in my photo page. And so I do this, right? And, it might be silly stuff, but who cares? I do that once a week at a minimum. I try to do posts every week. I don't always feel like I have new content because I will post links to my blog posts, which I do twice a month. So, I'll post the events that are coming up, something like that. I almost always have an event and to post an event or a blog post in order to do every week. So that's my personal schedule. I think that's a pretty good practice.
So at least something once a week. So at least once a week is a good consistency.
Yes. Okay. Consistency is king here. I do the same thing when I do Google. I also do Yelp as well. I just post pictures.
Okay. And you did mention can't talk today. Hashtags. So that helps as well with Google. Because I have done hashtags. But you find that hashtags does actually help with each post or adding them to each post?
Yes, I definitely do that. And you can see how this is a link to a blog post. And you can see how I've hashtagged the hell out of it.
Okay. And I do have one more question. So if you have like a personal blog, is it good to have a Google My Business even though it's not really a business, or is it just, I don't know if you understand what I'm asking, but to put it out there, or is it just not good to do something like that if you just have a blog? I was just wondering.
I don't know. I've never thought about it because I have a personal blog and I've never thought to create a Google My Business for it. If you want to get, well, I guess it comes back to, again, when you're looking at, when you're doing a marketing plan, you know, what is it that you're trying to accomplish? Are you trying to establish yourself as an authority, as a reliable figure in a particular industry or area? And if your blog kind of talks to that, then yes. You might actually contribute also to Medium, and you get paid for that based on views. But that's
Medium.
medium.com.
Okay.
And that's I mean, you see B2C and B2B on blog posts there as well. And it's, they send you an email every day that's curated content based on what you've read in the past.
Okay.
So that might be a better place to put a personal blog than through something like this.
Okay. That was all the questions I had.
Cool. Anybody else? Any other questions? So, to recap, right? Post as much as possible, pictures, videos, posts. Just get it out there. If you're creating content in I'm a big believer in using content. I'm also a big believer in evergreen content. So if I wrote a blog post working from home and kids are out of school, which isn't appropriate right now. Well, it kind of is, but it's not the same. It's not the same as what people are normally dealing with this time of year. But I would do a post that would point back to that blog post, because my goal is to drive people to my website so they want to find out more information about my service, which is what we're all trying. Point people to it, and make sure you respond to all reviews, good and bad, so that people feel love. All right. Anything else? Any other questions? Angelique has a question.
Hey, Catherine. I don't know. I was having a mute issue. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Yeah, so I was just going to ask you about tips. I've been trying to verify my address for months now with Google, and they suspended my listing for quality control issues. And so I've been going back and forth with them. So I don't know if you had any tips for that, because my listing, I don't think it shows up on Google currently.
So are you using the address that I gave you?
I am.
Because I haven't seen a postcard come for you. Let's talk offline and let's look at the address specifically and see if we can get that settled, because I've actually received a lot of those Google My Business cards here in the past. And when I get them, I know exactly what they are. And I always let people know that they're here because I know that they need them to verify their location. So
Okay.
let's talk after this and we'll get to the bottom of it.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Well, Rick, I owe you an answer too. And Angelique, I owe you an answer. And I have both of your emails, so I will be able to do that. And I'm really glad you all came today. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me anytime. And I will be delighted to answer you if to the best of my ability.
Thanks, Catherine. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
Have a great
Catherine.
day.
Thank you, Catherine. Very informative.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
All right.
Appreciate it. Bye.